Shall I start the session, sir? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, shall I start the session?
Okay.
Great. So, good noon, everyone, and welcome to the Mastering Up International Conference Series 2025-2026. Today's theme is International Conference on Neuroscience and Mental Health. Super exciting stuff again. And big cheers to Dr. Coily Glay Bryan and all our amazing participants. You all rock. We have already wrapped up our forenoon session. The welcome speech was done and followed by the conference address and company intro by Ms. Suguna, our Chief Business Officer at Mastering Up. I also introduced our session chair, Mr. Arunava, and we had a great question answer with the participant. So now it's time to move into our afternoon session. Let's keep the energy going. Let's keep it chill, interactive, and fun. And grab your coffee. Let's dive in. So, ladies and gentlemen, and dear friends, a very warm welcome to all of you. It's an absolute delight to kick off this exciting session on neuroscience and the next generation, rewiring humanity for resilience, innovation, and brain health. Whether you are joining us out of pure curiosity or deep passion, you are in the right place, and we are so glad you are here. And today we are diving into a fascinating world where brain science meets the future. From building mental resilience to unlocking innovation through brain health, we will explore how neuroscience is shaping the next generation of thinkers, leaders, and change makers. Let's keep this session light, interactive, and full of energy. Your thoughts and questions are what will make it even more amazing. Let's begin with a quiet to the set to the tone. The brain is wider than the sky, like Emily Dickinson. So let's open our minds, absorb some incredible insights, and get inspired together. Let's go. Before we begin Dr. Brian's session, I would like to take a moment to introduce him. So, all right, everyone, I hope you are ready for some serious inspiration because today we have the absolute honor of welcoming someone truly exceptional to our session. So, please join me in giving a warm virtual welcome to Dr. Kyle Glay Bryan from the Department of Medical Biosciences, Faculty of Natural Sciences, University of the Western Cape in Cape Town, South Africa. We are beyond excited to have him here with us today. Dr. Bryan is a powerhouse in the field of neuroscience with a strong academic background that includes degrees in medical science, human psychology, public health, and even a professional master's in neuroscience from Tech University, Mexico. His research explores the complex connections between substance abuse, HIV, neuroinflammation, and mental health, some of the most important issues of our time. Beyond the lab, he is also a certified brain profiling practitioner and neuro leadership coach, empowering individuals and communities through neuroscience coaching, mental wellness, and lifelong learning. Truly a game changer. Let's set to that tone for today with this beautiful quiet. When we understand how the brain works, we unlock the potential to transform lives, starting with our own. So, get ready for an eye opening session that blends science, passion, and purpose. So, over to you, Dr. Bryan. And before we dive into today's session, I would like to take just a moment to introduce to the motto of Dr. Bryan: empowering minds, transforming lives, one neuron at a time. So I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Bryan, and also thanks a lot for joining us today, and over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Chair, for a nice introduction. And I would like to greet you and everyone that is listening to me today as we dive in the neuroscience of the next generation, rewiring humanities for resilience and innovation and brain health. As it's been introduced, I am from South Africa, basically in Cape Town, where the University of the Western Cape is located. Then I'm a neuroscientist outside of brain profiling or neuro coaching. Our lab is based at the University of the Western Cape. We are a neurobiology group that is composed of three PIs, which is me, Professor David Fisher, and also Dr. Chantal Velemsa. Our most research interest is basically on the brain endothelial cells or brain or blood-brain barrier, which is it have these specialized endothelial cells that are formulating these blood capillaries in the brain, which is we look at these capillaries, how they've been affected either by ARVs or by narcotics. As we see that there is quite a rising number of substance abuse. Then we are looking at how these blood-brain barrier capillaries that are being affected. Also, we also look at the disease states where we're looking at HIV. How does HIV crosses the blood-brain barrier? One of the research currently about HIV is that the literature is showing that HIV it tend to strive in the central nervous system because of what? Because of these blood-brain barrier and or capillaries, which is we find in our system, which is they tend to be very selective in terms of allowing the drugs or ARVs to cross the blood-brain barrier. Then also a colleague of mine, which is Dr. Chantal Velemsa, is more onto cancer, is working on cancer and looking at how does cancer migrate into the central nervous system and also with hemorrhagic stroke. Therefore, we try to create models to understand in the molecular view or in the a biomolecular view how these diseases, how the treatments, and also how other things such as substance abuse can affect the blood-brain barrier. That's all I am at a university. However, I'm also passionate with helping people to discover themselves, understanding themselves better, as I'm also in the journey of understanding myself. Therefore, today, that's why today we'll be not talking more about science on what we are doing, but we'll be talking more about how can we strive in this changing world. Therefore, maybe you ask yourself, why is this talk it matters, or why this talk it is important to you? I believe that it is important to you because all of us we are affected with what is happening around us when we are looking at the times that we are living in the leadership courses or in the leadership trainings. They are more interested on what on the word that we call VUCA. It is the word that stands for volatility, uncertainty, and complexity and ambiguity. When we are looking what is happening around us, it's the environment is very volatile. You know, when you switch on your TV, when you switch on your radio, when you get into social media, most of the energy that you can find there, it is more negative. We see that there are wars that are taking place, there are a lot of things that are happening, there's a lot of commotion, let alone that we are in the times where technology is taking over. I believe that here we are having students and also having staff. Then when we look at the way us as a staff, the way we were trained, and the way we're supposed to produce today, sometimes it's becoming difficult because the technology has upped the standard. Also, as a student, you are doing a degree or you are doing a certain skill, then you believe that this skill is going to give job at the end of the day, but you are seeing that the robotic system or the technological system is taking over. Therefore, when we are looking at this environment, it's very volatile, and it end up giving the feeling of uncertainty, of not being sure if you are going to strive or if you are going to make it. Also, when you look at the complexity, now we are talking about data science, we are talking about understanding the programming. Almost all the courses now, they are infusing the programming programs that we need to be to explore it, we need to understand it, we need to create those robotic systems, we need to create those systems that are going to make life easier. Also, it's very ambiguous as we see things that are happening around the world. Therefore, this it drives that the brain's health crisis, it is for youth and it is for what? It is for adults. Let alone that when we are looking at the level of stress and anxiety and also the use of AI, it is increasing, which is the use of AI, it is good because we are in the times of AI. However, sometimes it can have a negative effect, mostly to students and also to everyone. We are relying on it because it end up not sharpening our brain to stand for or any resilience that we might face. Therefore, it shows that we have these innovations, but they are providing the gaps and changes across what? Across generation. Therefore, that's why we have the need for what? For a personalized brain-based approach. When we are looking at the time that we are living in, as I've already said, you can see that the time they've been changing century to century. We know that as today we are talking about fourth industrial revolution. We had somehow a zero industrial revolution, the first industrial revolution, the second industrial revolution, and the third industrial revolution. And when you are looking these industrial revolution, they've been impacting the life, they've been impacting those generations as we're in the fourth industrial revolution, also impacting our own generation. Therefore, you can see that each generation, they tend to develop a certain resilience traits when it comes to when the technology or when the industrial of that time is being introduced. When we're looking at the first industrial revolution, that people, they were used to do things manually, but as the time goes on, the industrial revolution came up with what? With mechanization and steam power and water power, which is, it changed the way people, they were doing things, the way they were working. That means now they needed to do what? They needed to have a change in understanding or in terms of their work. When you look at the second industrial revolution, the second industrial revolution was focusing more on the mass production. They wanted a lot of production. There were a lot of assemblies of line, and then the electricity is being introduced. Therefore, it also required that first generation that were already now understanding in terms of what? Of the water power and steam power, now to change again, to understand in terms of what? In terms of operating the new systems, which is provided them what? A discipline and the capacity to do what? To for the repetitive productivity, while they are maintaining household stability. Another issue there is that you can see that these industries, when they were built, sometimes people, they will need to move from their homes and stay closer to those industries, which is impacted their household. It impacted their culture, their life that they use to live under. When you look at the third industrial revolution, which is, I believe, most of us were born in the third industrial revolution, where it was computer based and automation, which is everything were more automatic. But remember, the second generation that was still existing, then they needed to do what? To develop a cognitive flexibility and also a lifelong learning becoming essential for their survival skill. It means that the way that they were trained, they will need to re-skills again, they will need to be retrained again, because the second industrial revolution, it was also still have a quite number of what? Manual labor that was taking place. Now they needed to change from that understanding of work or labor of the way they were working to what? To the third industrial revolution. Currently, we're in the fourth industrial revolution. In the fourth industrial revolution, everyone sees it. Everything, it's been digitalized now. Finances are being digitalized now. We are talking about blockchain now, moving money from one blockchain to another blockchain, moving money from individual to another individual, moving money from companies to companies. Everyone, it's all about cyber security and the physical system. It means that in this generation, we are in the generation where we thought that all the skills that we've accumulated or the degrees that we have provided, that we still need even in this generation, which is, we are finding that now things are changing. For example, now the resilience trait that we are seeing more on the what, on the emotional intelligence, self-regulation, and the ability to strive in the uncertainty time. It means that the emotional intelligence it's becoming the powerhouse now, even across the discipline. Either you are a student, either you are a staff, either you are an executive manager, you need to apply emotional intelligence. That's why I would like us to touch on these two types of emotional intelligence, which is this emotional intelligence I'm talking about. It is the intrapersonal empowerment and interpersonal empowerment, because these two emotional intelligence, they are looking you inside out. When we talk about the intrapersonal empowerment, it's when we are talking about the ability to recognize and understand one's own mood and desire and motivation and intentions. It means that you're able to govern yourself, you're able to hold yourself even when you are facing certain situations that are not good. But you need to provide a good understanding to others, also able to govern yourselves, able to make sure that your desires they are in line with your vision, your desires they are in line with your motivation, which is requires the brain's health resilience for in this turbulent world, the attitude to adjust and self-confident, and also stress coping and mental wellness, self-motivation and purpose-driven mindset, which is that what the intrapersonal empowerment do. It's able to assist you and give you in terms of coping with stress in this time that we are living in. Then when we are looking the interpersonal development, it is the ability to recognize and understand the mood and desires and motivations, the intentions of what of others. It means that as a leader, it's very crucial to have what, to have a strong on the interpersonal development or interpersonal emotional intelligence, because it assists you in terms of governing your team, in terms of leading your team and making your team to be successful, to be a successful team, and also maintaining a health interaction with your team, and also providing the leadership, a vital leadership and management and success. It means that it's no longer interpersonal, it's no longer about you, but it's about people that are around you. When we look at the intrapersonal, it is all about you. How do you govern yourself? I would like us to look at these key areas, brain system for innovation and resilience. We have two systems, which is the big system in neuroscience, which we talk about the limbic system. Then also we're talking about the brain as the whole. But we will understand that the brain is covered by what? By the cortex, which is in the cortex we're able to differentiate the lobes of the brain, which is the most important lobe that is needed at the or the most important lobe that need to be fully activated. It is the frontal lobe. When we talk about this is the frontal lobe part, which is the frontal lobe, it also have some subdivisions of these on the frontal lobe, and these in the frontal lobe I normally call it is it is an executive functioning, because it's play a crucial role when it comes to what, when it comes to decision making. Then on other side we are seeing again other a big system, which is this the internal part of our brain, which is the limbic system, and this system it is guided by different what structures. Then in these structures we are talking about the most popular structures, which is hippocampus, and then we're talking about the amygdala. Amygdala, I always call it, it is the house of emotions. Therefore, now you see that the linking between the intrapersonal and interpersonal, it is very important to understand and to maintain or strike the balance of these systems, because these systems they work together, and we know that this system they are filled with what, with different neurochemicals, and one of those neurochemicals, which is one of the chemicals that is affecting a lot of people, because sometimes people, they tend to be, mostly to students, they tend to be hooked on the what, on the social media, looking and ingesting the content, end up running out of time in terms of that they're supposed to be focusing on their studies, but they end up not focusing on their studies because the social media has consumed a person. Therefore, we can see here on this area that we have the ventromedial frontal cortex, which is involved in behavior and the selections of what, of the context. And we have the orbitofrontal cortex, which is involved in decision making related to emotions and reward. Once it's related to emotions and reward, you cannot separate it from the limbic system, because everything stems from the limbic system. Then it is projected back into the what? Into the frontal, into the orbitofrontal cortex. Whatever you do, if it brings joy to you, it means that it tends to stimulate your limbic system, and then the decision that you are going to make, it will be based on the emotions or the reward that you are going to get. Then the last part, it is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is this, it is involved in the what? In the behavioral selection for working memory. And as you see on the limbic system, that we have the amygdala, which it stores the long-term memory, and then we have the hippocampus, which is store a short-term memory and also the working memory. Therefore, these parts, they are becoming so important in this time that we are living in, because we are in the time of transitioning. And as we are transitioning, therefore, we need to empower these areas with a good understanding, so that we can be good leaders, so that we can able to provide a good success. Then when we look at Herman's brain model, it also look at the overview of what, of our system, or of our cortexes, and also the limbic system. We can see that, we know that the brain, it has two hemispheres, it has the left and the right hemisphere. And what has happened is that when we divide these hemispheres, we can see that the left cortical quadrant, it's responsible for abstract, for mathematics, technical, quantitative, and problem solving, and also involved in terms of what, of analytical thinking most of the time. Then also being dominant on this area, sometimes it can have some shortfall of what, of being known as a cold person, or coldness, a person that is not much into understanding other people, emotion distance from other issues that are happening around it, either in your group, either in your team. If you are a leader, that is more prominent on these areas. Therefore, people to tend to distance themselves away from you, because you are not emotionally attached. Then we can see that we also have the right cortical, which is the right cortical, it provides what, creativity, innovation, the vision, the visionary, and investigative. Then also it has some limits. Again, these limits, it may be overlooking the details, that you're having a good ideas, but sometimes the process or the involvement that is needed, or the things that you need to do, sometimes these people, they tend to overlook it, the details. Then we have also what we call the limbic system, the left limbic system, which is these people, they are more organized, they are administrative, they are goal oriented, they are task focused, and also they are known as what, as doers. These people, they all about doing it. Then we have the right limbic system, which is the right limbic system. It is basically more relationship focused, expressive, and team orientated. And these people, they are more empathic, they are more in terms of what, in terms of counseling. Therefore, but also all of these areas, they also provide or have some limiting factors. That's why I want us to dive more on the tool. As much as we have identified the problems, we have identified in terms of if someone is more prominent on the left cortex or on the right cortex, how a person can know that and how a person can do better so that can able to be the brain, his or her brain, to be activated. That's why it brings us to this topic, why brain profiling is important and what is brain profiling. We have this what they call this company. This company is a Neuralink company. It is based in Pretoria in South Africa, and it provides the neuro agility, which is for flexible, faster, and focus to improve our system. It was started by Dr. Andrew Verman, which is a professor in the University of Pretoria in the Department of Human Physiology, then believes more on the what? On the agility, which is the agility. It means that to be flexible and able to harness the power of your brain. And therefore, they have this tool, which is they call it NEP. It is Neuro Agility Program, Advanced Plus tool, which it helps to improve your brain and fitness and mental flexibility for faster and focused and flexible mind. There's his quote saying that knowing your unique neurological design and understanding the drives that impact this, it is the key to neuroagility development, talent development, and performance improvement. I believe that everyone who can concur this, it's either you're a student, either you're a staff, either you are working or you're an executive director, the development of agility in this time, it is very important. If you are a person that take time to adapt or take time to understand the change that is taking place, therefore it's going to be quite harder for you to strive in this time. Also, talent development, it's all about now talent development, it's all about now developing the skills, it's all about performance improvement. Everyone, student, they want to have a good grades, because when they get the good grades, they do what? They get bursaries, or it puts them at an advantage of getting the job. And everybody, it's all about what? It's all about performance. Therefore, when we are looking at what a lack of neuroagility look like, we can see that it's mental rigidity. It means that you are fixed and then you're limited in terms of mindset, in terms of change that is taking place now. Poor and slow understanding of problem solving, then resistance to change, causing more errors and mistakes or incidents, physical rigidity in terms of hand and eye coordination problem, not being able to quickly transfer knowledge appropriate to new situations and experiences. But if we can embark on the journey of improving our brain functionality, that's what we can expect to identify your unique, which is this program would help you to identify your unique potential, learn how to develop your potential, understand yourself better, align who you are with what you do, improve your brain health, manage stress and fatigue more effectively, and understand your potential risk for what? For human error. Then this tool is able us to identify different part of the neurological of our unique neurological design. We can see here that it's a good potential is an indicator of who you are. It helps us to understand our unique thinking, learning and communication and processing the information. Also, neuroagility correlate to increase in what? In performance. As I've already said, that we are in the times of productivity, of a quite huge productivity that is needed from us. Then also in terms of your performance as a student, a performance as a person that is working, that is expected from you. Then other thing that also able this tool to identify, it is the dominance. When we're talking about dominance, I've been talking about dominance, I'm sorry that I didn't explain it enough. Dominance, it doesn't mean that the other areas of the brain are not working. It means that the dominance, there is this specific area that is leading, which is This it happened because of the way we are raised and the environment around us. People that are surrounding us, they tend to influence the way we think and the way we process information and the way we do things. Therefore, brain dominance, it doesn't mean that other regions of the brain are not working. It's just that there is this region that is dominating. There is this region that you normally rely more on it to make decision or to do things. Then also this tool is going to give you or understanding about the brain drives that optimize your brain performance and improve your brain health and overall brain fitness. We have something that we call brain drive. We're going to look at the end of this presentation, that how does brain drives helps you to what uh, 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 to maintain your performance or to improve your performance, also helping you with your overall brain fitness and health. Therefore, the brain profiling tools, it have two dimensions. We have the first dimension, which is, we call it a neurological design functional. That means there we are looking at all your neurological design or your unique neurological design. Everyone is unique. We are when we think, we are not thinking in the same way, but we think in different ways. Therefore, to touch on these things, on the neurological design or on the dimension number one, we can see that we have what we call a functional laterality. A functional laterality, it talks about your brain dominance, which part it is dominant. One of the nice thing about doing this tool is that it's able to give you the indicators. These are not measurement or diagnostic. These are indicators that, based on the way you have answered the tool, therefore it gives you some indication that that's where you are at the moment. And sometimes when you get the feedback, you tend to see that as like someone sees you inside, because most of the things, they tend to correlate. I have done brain profiling, I think 2 times now, for myself to improve my brain functionality. Then all that, every time when I'm doing it, I get amazed at the result that I get, because it always speaks to me, and now I tend to understand even myself better and understanding more, or the things that is needed from me to do so that I can be the better person. Therefore, we talk about the functional literality, which is about your dominant side of your brain. Then also we talk about your expressive, if you are an expressive person or if you are a receptive person. You find that other people, they are very good when it comes to expressing themselves. Other people, they are quite known as quiet people or shy people, people that doesn't like to talk. It's because these people, they tend to focus more when they are in the conversation, most sometimes in listening, and most sometimes in receiving what they are being told. Also, either are you a rational thinker or are you an emotional thinker, which is this indicator. It is very important to understand, because we don't want only to be emotional thinkers, but we also want to be rational thinkers. But we don't want also to be fully rational thinkers and also not having the part of what, of the emotional feeler or thinker. Then now you can see that the indicator on this brain profiling, it shows that this person is a moderate rational thinker, which is this person still also need to apply what, the emotional in some situation. Also, it will give you the understanding about your senses, your sensories, or your special senses. For example, like your hand, your eye, your ears, which ear is dominant, which eye is dominant, which eye are you using, which hand are you using. And then it also, on your functional laterality or your brain dominant, it also try to give you the indication of what, of the percentages. And if you are more, you can see that this person is more on the what, on the, as a result thinker, and also as a rational thinker. Then it same things applies also on the sensories or special senses. It also gives you some indicators that how much you use your eye. That means this person is a person that is very vigilant, is a person that always look at things, is scanning the environment. I am accepted here. Can I provide an information? Can I be the person that's of value in this in this environment? Therefore, this person is more visual. Is this person understand things visually? Also, when it comes to analyzing things. Then on this other side, it's just an overall neurological design on the mental flexibility, that you can see that this person on the laterality is quite doing very good. It means that this person is using all of his brain regions at the same time. Yes, they still have some improvement, at least here to be 20%, or to be here to be 30%, or 25%, 25%, which is it's quite impossible that you can have 25% and 25%, because it's going to give us 100%. However, there's still a room of improvement. Now I've been talking about the brain laterality, or the functional laterality. Then you can see here that people that are more front, or are more left front quadrant, they tend to be more called as precision thinkers. Then the one that are right front quadrant, they are also mostly called as the visionary thinkers. You can see these people that are creative, they're holistic, they're practical, experiential, they're spontaneous, they learn with images. Moreover, if you are a student, if we find as I'm an academic, then when I go to my student, I must make sure that the way I prepare my slide must able to speak in both of these people, because some of other people, they are left dominant, other people, they are right dominant. It means that if my slide, they don't have shapes, they don't have diagrams, then these people, they will tend to be hard for them, the one that are right brain dominant, to understand my content. Therefore, these people are the people that we find in them that are content creators, because they are very creative. Also, we find these people on art, and these people that are very talkative, then they are very sociable. Then we look at the back quadrant of the right, then these people, we call them are the rational thinkers. And these people, they are more emotional, they are attached, they formulate relationship, different relationship, they are counselors, they are also diplomatic and very supportive and very empathic. Then we have this on the left quadrant, at the back of our back quadrant, then we have the result thinkers, which is these people, they are action orientated, they are result and task driven, they are competitive, they are independent, sometimes they are impatient, they are sensible, and they are controlling sometimes. Therefore, by understanding your brain preferences or your brain dominance, it helps you to understand your advantage and also disadvantage. You can see that there's a lot of disadvantage. For example, if you are being led by the person that is result driven, or person that is a result thinker, those people, sometimes they tend to be turning a blind spot on the health or mental health well-being of their staff, or of their team, because for them, the only thing that they are thinking about, they are just thinking about results. They are just result driven. Sometimes when you are in the meeting with these people, they don't want long meetings, they want short meetings, because for them, once you tell them what you want, then they'll go and do and deliver and give it to you. Which is when these ones, the precision thinkers, this one, they need to analyze first. They need to understand it. They need to calculate the risk. They need to know what I'm going to benefit on this, then how this is going to benefit either the community, or how this is going to benefit either my team. Then you are on the other side. These ones, they are more creative. For example, you are doing an event, in your team, and then you give a person to be an event organizer, but this person is more dominant on the left quadrant. Therefore, you'll end up complaining that this person is not giving or providing the right service, Because of what? Because this person is not creative. But if you know that so and so is creative, is more dominant on the right brain hemisphere, then that person is going to do things to the T because is enjoying on what or on what he or she is doing. But at the end of the day, we can develop all of these areas or all of these regions to be balanced. And once we are balanced, it means that it helps us to change even in this time where we find it so difficult to change. Therefore, these are the indicators. You can see the brain laterality of this person is quite more this person balanced because it's very close to the center. It means that both hemispheres are functioning together to deliver whatever that person is doing. Then we can see here on the on the expressive and receptive preference. Then you can see that this person is also moderate receptive. It's not strongly receptive. It is more moderate receptive. On the rational of emotional preference, you can see that this person it also moderate. If this sign moves toward here, that means the person is becoming more balanced. Then we can see if we're talking about the rational thinkers, these people are what they are very objective, they are rational, they are factual, they react intelligent, they are theoretical, and they want facts. Then when you talk about the emotional ones, the emotional ones are very subjective. They are experiential, they react instinctive and practical, and irrational and emotional. Now this is the sensory part, or this is the special senses part. Therefore, I will not go all of them, but I want us to look at the ears, the importance of our ears. Maybe sometimes some people they've experienced this. If you are a left ear dominant, you can see that you listen how things are said. You don't listen words. You listen with emotions. And these people, they are kind of what? Non-verbal content. These people, when you speak to them, they look at all the facial expression you are doing. They look at all the way you looking at them as you are uttering the words. Which is when we looking at the right dominant ear people, we can see these people, they listen what is said. They listen the words. They are more onto language, and then they will understand and analyze facts. And which is this is it correlates because we know that the left side of the body, the right side of the body, it is controlled on the left, and the left is more predominant with what? With weights and with analytical and with language mathematical. Therefore, this side it is controlled on the what? On the right side of the brain, which is this side. It is more about reading, it's more about creating images, it's more about creating visuals. That's why when you have people on your team also, it's always important because sometimes these people that are left ear dominant, they tend to be in quarrel a lot on many a times because they didn't listen the words, but they were looking how a person is saying whatever the person was saying. Therefore, by looking dimension number one is helping us to improve in this evolving leadership through the lenses of what? Of industrial revolution. As we are in this industrial revolution that they keep on changing and changing and changing. That's why the dimension number one is playing a crucial role because it's helping us or shaping us to be the better people, from people that are commanding things to be done to cooperation. Because that's what it's all about now. It's all about cooperation. You cannot start a project alone and finish a project alone. You will need to work to have other people that are going to assist you to fulfill your project. Also encouraging creativity and adapting the constant changes as the time that changes, the market is changing. Therefore, also we need to be adapting in that and changing, and also having trust-driven leadership. The trust, it is very important on project or when we are doing projects. Now, let us quickly look at the dimension number two, which is at the brain drives. The brain drives are, I believe, for me, that they are the most things that are very important because they are keeping our brain healthier. We're talking about the brain fitness, we're talking about the stress, the sleep, the movement, the attitude, and food. Now, this person started in the beginning of the year, did the first brain profiling. Then these are the results, that's how they look like. The overall result is 51%. Then at the end of the year, then the person managed to improve so much to 75%. You can see that this person on the brain fitness was around, the indicators was showing around 20%, current now is on 40%. Then the stress management or coping was around 80%, was doing good even in the beginning, but now it's even more good because it increased to 90%. The sleep was around 30%, and now it's about 50%. There's still a room of improvement. Then you can see that the movement of this person that was doing was not doing enough movement. Therefore, it was around 50% and now it's 70%. The attitude was around 70%. Now the attitude and the mindset is what? It is 90%. The brain, the food then was around, the indicator was around 60%, and then now it is around what? 80%. By doing the brain profiling or understanding your brain performance, it assists you in understanding all of these brain drives where you are. When we look at movement are playing a crucial role in our brain. There's a lot of research in neuroscience that has been done in terms of exercising, why exercising is important for us. Therefore, exercising, either you are doing your walks or you are going to the gym at least 3 to 5 times a week. If you are doing a walks, it's at least 3 to 4 kilometers 3 times or 4 times a week. Therefore, that it stimulates your sensory receptors, and also it channels your brain functionality, not just on also a brain functionality, it also strengthens your neuronal plasticity. Also, there are different movement. For example, when you're exercising, do the core lateral exercises. The core lateral exercises, they assist you in terms of activating both neurons on your hemispheres to work together. I also want to look at food. Food is very important, and most the food that boosts our brain functionality. We can see that the different types of food, also drinking more water, having some salad portions and fruits, it is very important. But also what I want to indicate this type of mushroom. We have mushroom that we call lion's mane. The other one is called Canothema lucidium. These mushroom in neuroscience and research, and when you're looking at the literature, it is showing the benefit of taking these mushroom either as a supplement, or some other people they end up even cooking at them and taking as food. Then, but most people they prefer to take them as supplement. They boost your memory, your concentration, your neurogenesis, your nervous system, reducing stress and boosting your immunity, which is that what you want. As we are looking at now, there is a current studies taking place that the increase of what? Of Alzheimer's disease, that people they are becoming more and more forgetting. And when you are food, it's very important for what? For your neuronal plasticity. I always equate this neuronal plasticity, it is equal to resilience. It means that the stronger your neuronal plasticity, it is the stronger you'll be resilient. When we talk about resilience, we are talking about able to adapt, able to change in this environment that is demanding a lot of change. Therefore, neuronal plasticity, and one of the thing about these the lion's manes and the food that boosts the brain, it boosts your what? Your BDNF, which is because the brain derives neurotrophic factors. These are the molecules that assist in terms of what? Of your proliferations of your neurons and the differentiation of the neurons, the cell growth and the survival of your neurons. This molecule, it is very important, which is when you are taking this supplement that I've mentioned above, they assist you to strengthen your BDNF, because as we age, then the BDNF, it tends to go down. Also, exercise, it's very important to do what? To stimulate these endorphins and serotonin, because they are needed by the neuronal plasticity. Also, not just only that, but to create a structural plasticity. Currently, people, they are being affected by addiction, different types of addictions. Therefore, addiction, it comes from the habits that you have developed along the run of your life. Then now, when you find out that no, you no longer want to live like this or do this thing, therefore the neuronal plasticity, it is the one that playing a crucial role in helping you to reverse those addiction. Not just reversing addiction, but starting new habits, which is they are going to overpower the old habits or the bad habits. Therefore, neural plasticity is playing a crucial role in terms of that can continuously or occur in a specific period with a multiple form of team working together. That is our key insight about neuronal plasticity. Not just only that, it provides the growth of the new fibers and synapses and pathways. Therefore, BDNF is very crucial because it works on the different signal pathways of the brain development. Not just brain development, but also the maintenance of what? Of our system. My closing remarks as follows: that as we navigate the complexities of VUCA world, which is the volatile, the uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguous time, understanding our brain has never been more essential than before. It means that we really need to take care of our brain, because every decision that now that we are going to make, it's the decision that's going to determine that we are becoming successfully or we are still going to be left behind. The brain profiling empowers us to harness our unique strength and build resilience and activate our brain drives for the peak performance. By strengthening resilience, it enhances the brain drives. We naturally boost our BDNF levels and support the neural plasticity, and critical for continuous learning, innovation, and adaptability. Together, through neuroscience, we can rewire humanities for the future, and defined by resilience, creative, and brain health, which is to me, by taking care of our brain system, it like we are taking care of what? Of our boardroom. I always associate the brain and the bedroom, that these are almost similar, because that's where decisions are made, and those decisions that you are making, if either they are going to make you successfully or they are going to make you not successful. These are some of the references that I've used when I was creating this presentation. Thank you so much for listening to me. I think I'm over the time now, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. So, participants have some questions. So, shall I answer questions now?
Yes.
Okay, great. My first question: how can neuroscience be used to build emotional resilience in the younger generation?
Okay. Thank you for such a wonderful question. By having more health promotions, there's one of the things that I was in other conference on other month, and this conference was more on it was neuroscience and mental health. One thing that we came up with, it was the mental health promotion. It is very important, because sometimes the young generation, they tend to involve themselves on the things which is they are going to affect them at a long run. I'll make an example of someone that is starting to take alcohol at a teenage age, or someone that's starting to take drugs in the teenage age. Because in the teenage age, the brain is still developing, the frontal cortex is still developing, then the drugs and alcohol, they interfere with the development. But it doesn't mean that the brain is going to stop developing. It's going to develop because it's going to create those pathways. Then the person down the line at the age of 30 then is starting to develop what we call the neurodegenerative diseases. Therefore, it is all about helping young people, helping teenagers, or helping youth to understand who they are, and then assisting them to find their purpose and their goals at an early age so that they can be the better people.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Next question. What role will brain computer interfaces play in the future of education and innovation?
Oh, sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. What role will brain computer interfaces play in the future of education and innovation?
Okay. When we are looking at AI and also computational neuroscience, which is on the computational neuroscience, it's where they are trying to look at how most of them they are functioning or working more on the neural tracking in terms of behavior, why people they behave the way they behave once a person is taking certain substances, or why other people they don't take substances. They want to look at that, which is they tend sometimes to correlate it with genetics. Therefore, when we are looking where we are now and the use of AI, or depending on AI as a young person, it tend to interfere with your neuronal growth and also with your neuronal synapses or your neuronal firing. Because if I'm given the assignment and then I take the assignment, then I put it on AI, then the AI is going to do it for me. And then I'll submit the assignment. Yes, I'll get 100% or I'll get 80%. But does it mean that I have understand that topic? No, I didn't understand the topic. It is only the AI that did it for me, which is AI, it is good, but sometimes it can be bad because it can end up creating people which is they are less active or less engaging in terms of understanding the topic. When we are looking at the future, that's why I've said in the beginning we need health promotion, or mental health promotion, to teach about these things, to teach about AI and also computer neuroscience, how can impact people negatively and how can impact them positively in the future.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The next question. How can neuroscience based coaching improve mental health at the community level?
Okay. First of all, when we look at neuroscience coaching, it provides you with an understanding who you are personally. That's why we look at it, the emotional intelligence intrapersonally, because intrapersonally is looking at you. How are you leading yourself? And a community, it's a building blocks of individuals. It means that if we deal with individuals, when they go and then becoming a group, then they becoming a healthy community. Why do I say that? Because it's neuroscience, it's able to enlighten your understanding, enlighten about you. Why do you prefer or why do you do things that you are doing? In as we have seen on your on the thing on the neurological design. Therefore, our neurological design, it is the one that speaks to us, but also again it can speaks also to the community. Because if my neurological design is not good for the community, automatically the community suffers. For example, we are seeing the cases of rape that are increasing every day. Because of what? Because the wiring of a person's brain, then it's completely not in the right of the community, or it's completely not in the culture of the community. A person believes what he believes or what she believes, but it tends to affect the community. That's why I'm saying that it starts from individuals. When we help the individual to discover themselves, understanding themselves, then they build a healthy community.
Yeah, thank you, sir. What are the future implications of neuroplasticity in treating addiction or trauma?
Uh, when we are looking at things, I will always go back to AI. That um, or neuroscience in the beginning, they didn't believe that you can develop new neurons. They thought that you are born with those neurons and then you're going to use those neurons. Then, at a later stage, they tend to believe that no, there's something that is called neurogenesis, which is neurogenesis. It drives what? It drives neuronal plasticity. Therefore, with the type of food that we are eating now, which is the food that is not naturally or organically developed, it impacts the nervous system. By impacting the nervous system, it's impacting the neurogenesis. And when it's impacting the neurogenesis, then it will impact the neuronal plasticity. Therefore, it is all about guiding yourself. How are you consuming? What are you taking it into your system? Either it can be food, either it can be in information, because even information, as I started with that, when you open your TV, when you go to social media, most of the time, every 5 minutes you are going to see a negative thing. Therefore, if you constantly expose yourself on those negative things, they affect your attitude, which is your attitude is your brain drives. Therefore, if your attitude you are not maintaining, because our target, or we are striving to maintain the positive attitude all the time, or every day of our lives, so that we can be what? We can be the better people that able to influence other people. Therefore, by people being exposed to negativity, it impacts the energy for them, in terms of it impact the energy either in the neurogenesis or in the neuroplasticity.
Thank you, sir. This is my last question. How can future technologies use brain profiling to personalize learning and leadership development? Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, sir.
I'm really sorry about that. My connection played with me.
Okay. That's all.
Yes.
Okay, that's my final question. How can future technologies use profiling to personalize learning and leadership development?
Okay. When we look at technology, it requires the brain or the cognitive that is flexible. One of the thing about brain profiling is able to give you your understanding who you are, which brain part or which brain region is dominant. Then that's where it starts. Then after that, you are going to help yourself to develop all of these regions, so that you can be the person that is very agile when it comes to the environment, to the new environment. Sometimes other people, it's hard for them to cope on the what on the new environment, because it needs a lot of adjustment. Therefore, brain profiling, what does it do? It just exposes you who you are, then you work from there to understand better, so that you can be the better person. When we're looking at the brain drives will always be there to assist you also to becoming a better person that is not having a network glitch, or technological glitch. Because when we're looking at the way things are happening right now, as I've said, that for me, I believe that I'm coming from the third industrial revolution. But when we are looking at the companies we are working on, when we are looking the way the university are developing now. For example, university they are more on entrepreneurship now, or trainings or college center they are more on entrepreneurship now. As much as a student can be studying whatever degree is studying, how can the student can transfer that information to entrepreneurship? Instead of finishing and getting a job, now the student will finish and start a business, which is will end up assisting other people to come and work with the student. Therefore, brain profiling, it assists you on those things to give you, to show you your strength and also to show your weakness, which is because sometimes you tend to, as I've mentioned some weaknesses on the presentation, that we tend to look over shy or over and look those weaknesses, and most of the people they're saying that no, that's how I'm created, I am like this, which is you can have a room to what to change. Therefore, brain profiling, it's giving you that room to change and becoming a better person. Then whatever environment you are placed in, whatever environment you see yourself, therefore you're able to strive and becoming a better person and excel.
Thank you for the useful answers, sir. Though they have been really helpful in clarifying the topic. I hope the participants were able to follow along and understand the key points shared. Your insights have certainly added value to this session. So, Dr. Brian, on behalf of the entire team and participants of the Mastering Up the International Conference Series 2025 to 2026, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your presence and the powerful insights you have shared with us today. Your session on neuroscience and the next generation rewiring humanity for resilience, innovation, and brain health was nothing short of inspiring. You have given us a deeper understanding of how neuroscience can shape not just individuals but entire communities for a healthier, more empowered future. Your passion for brain health, your dedication to education and mental wellness, and your commitment to uplifting others through science and coaching have truly moved us. We especially appreciated how you connected complex concepts to everyday life, making neuroscience not just accessible but deeply relevant. It's rare to see such a blend of scientific excellence and human connections, and today you reminded us of the true impact a knowledgeable and compassionate leader can have. So, thank you once again, Dr. Brian, for taking the time to be with us and for sparkling meaningful conversation that will stay with us long after the session ends. So, we wish you continued success in your work and hope to cross paths again in future collaborations. You are an inspiration to many. So, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chair. I don't know how can I express my appreciation, but thank you, and thank you for getting me on LinkedIn, and we've been chatting until today. It has happened. Then thank you so much. Keep on doing the great work and also uplifting us as academics. It's not that only me that uplifting you, but you have also uplifted me as an academic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We will meet in future collaborations also.
Definitely. Thank you so
Great. Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.